And the polls are never wrong. They said Francesca Hong was headed for a blowout, up 22 points in one of the final surveys. Instead, she lost. And it wasn't just the pollsters who got it wrong. The Kalshi betting markets, Poly Market as well, gave Hong a 95% chance to win. David Crowley had just a 5% chance. So if you woke up Tuesday morning and placed a $100 bet on Crowley, you would have pocketed $2,200. Not bad. With us now, my lovely sister, Liberty Vittert Capito, professor at Washington University in St. Louis of data science, Geoffrey Skelley, chief elections analyst for Decision Desk HQ. Liberty, I'm going to start with you since you are a professor. Two blown calls. Michigan, Syed was going to win by 15 to 17 points. He won by 1. Hong was going to win by 22. She lost. That kind of sounds like an economic professor. On one hand and on the other, they're right about 50% of the time.
It's a good thing I'm not an economic professor. But listen, here's how this works. I mean, pollsters forget. It's easy. It happened in 2016. You forget who you're looking at. You know, our father, who, you know, these are open primaries, he would have walked to Wisconsin to vote for Crowley over Francesca Hong if he could have voted there. And, you know, I mean, we forget about these people that have such extreme feelings about real crazy people. I mean, she wanted to cancel Thanksgiving. Like, all you have to do is say that, and you know that there are going to be people who are not being found by these pollsters that would do anything to come out against this vote.
That would turn out right.
It's like high school with the, you know, chocolate milk fountains.
Oh, yeah, well, there was, yeah, those were promised a lot. They were never really delivered, kind of like health care, Medicare for all.
Do.
Right. But I think the question, Geoffrey, is the polling missing who's going to turn out or how many of them? Because, again, this happened in Michigan. Abdul El-Sayed was going to blow everybody out, and then it was the African-American vote, the working class vote, that turned out for Haley Stevens, white female, but who was, call it establishment. Here you go.
Yeah, well, I would say
African Americans, blacks, voted with Stevens. This is Genesee County, okay? This is Flint, Michigan. In Flint, 20% of the voting population there is black. All right, this is Wayne County. This is Detroit. In Wayne County, 37% of the voting population is African American. And she was winning those.
El-Sayed did very well in educated counties. Washington County is where Ann Arbor is. He ran up the score there, but in more working class counties like Wayne County, where Detroit and Dearborn are, Haley Stevens won.
Geoffrey, how do you not poll working class black voters when polling a Democratic primary?
Well, I think that the pollsters are trying to poll who they think is actually going to show up. The challenge is actually reaching those voters. And, you know, when I look at what may have happened in a place like Wisconsin, you know, it's interesting. The polls, generally speaking, had Hong around 40%. And so they may have roughly gotten her support right. But the problem was that they were missing sort of a combination of things. That there was a coalescing happening against her, and also the fact that there weren't actually that many polls in the final days of a race that changed a whole bunch, and some of that's not really necessarily the pollsters' fault. I do think, though, that there may be something going on between Michigan and Wisconsin. As Liberty said, it was an open primary, so you know, there's no party registration. Anyone can participate. There may have been something going on regarding the kinds of people who are more likely to answer a primary poll, differential response, where you got people who are more enthusiastic about the progressive candidates were just more likely to respond. And it's also possible that as a lot of these polls have been increasingly using things like text to web, that in a primary where age was actually a big predictor of your likelihood to vote for one candidate or the other, it's possible they actually were sort of overstating how many younger people, in the grand scheme of things, younger people, were showing up for a primary. Because primary electors are usually pretty old. Outside of the 2025 New York City mayoral primary, that's one of the only exceptions that we've seen in recent times. They're almost always very old.
This is why we have you guys on. This is great stuff. But I want to take this a step further, Liberty, because I think what you're really saying is there may be hope that for Team Normal, there really is people who are motivated. And you look at the turnout north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, for example, that came out strong for Crowley. you're talking about also missing people like our father, who's not particularly political, who is very much a traditional American, a swing voter if I've ever met a swing voter, and yet he's motivated to come out and vote against the socialist candidate, both in Michigan and in Wisconsin. That kind of voter isn't going to be in the turnout models for pollsters, are they?
No, they're not. And I think it's I said it before, but I want to think everyone remembers this person. There's the sort of popular jerk who's not that smart who says, we're going to have chocolate milk water fountains or Coca-Cola water fountains in school. And everyone thinks, oh, they're going to win because they're for free housing, free healthcare, all these things that Democratic Socialists are for. But they don't win because they're kind of jerks and people are motivated to come out against them. It's the same concept. There's all these voters that people forgot about, that people aren't thinking about, who are motivated to come out against them. And I think it really has to do with the fact that it is an open primary.
Powerful. Yeah, well, open primaries are good for democracy, that's for sure. And the party extremes hate them. Liberty Vittert Capito, Geoffrey Skelley, thank you both very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.